Miss Zimmerman, Beth, and Mr. Bouchane, thanks for spending the time hunkered down in an igloo to do this call.
Hi, Jeff.
How you making out in the deep freeze by you?
Sticking close to home.
Exactly.
Close to home. I went by the office today. I didn't yesterday. Check things out. Make sure the cats are fed, the wild cats.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, the wild cats. Got to take care of the wild cats. Got 5 of them out there.
Wow.
Woo.
Well, I just have a mini doodle that likes to play on ice.
Huh?
So I have a little mini labradoodle who has never seen ice. She's a pup. And she's just been having a good old time, but she's got a fur coat. I don't.
Well, yeah. It's pretty out. It is pretty.
It is.
But I think we're going to keep the office closed again tomorrow and then crank up again Monday.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing all kinds of work remotely. The only thing that has really stopped us is the banks were all closed, and I had some bank maneuvering to do, which I somehow managed to MacGyver that.
Well, the banks are closed, post office closed, garbage men are not picking up garbage.
Yep.
It's just,
Yep.
the, the official world is pretty much shut down.
As long as I don't have laryngitis and my vocal cords aren't impacted, I can still do things. And I have Patrick pulling the dog sled of design. Will I sit on the back with a sable hat, drinking a cup of hot chocolate, saying, "Go faster," pulling that sled of commerce.
Oh God! I'll tell you what, it's been a nice little vacation because I haven't taken a week off like this in 6 or maybe 10 years.
Oh,
wow.
smoke.
Been a long time. I just never take, going to work is only a mile and a half from home. And it's, I don't work that hard. I just do more yard work than I do anything
Yeah,
else.
always look at a guy, always look with a particular curious eye when a guy says he doesn't work that hard. Like a bunch of lawyers I meet that say, "I'm just an old country lawyer." Guys will put these Philadelphia lawyers to shame. Always beware when the lawyer says that. "I'm just a country lawyer," but yeah, you're not that smart, but you managed to muddle through.
Yeah, thank God I don't have to deal with too many lawyers.
Yep.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, well, we're in the entitlement and land use business, so
Well, you got
got to deal
to.
with.
Every deal you do, you got to have your lawyers involved.
Yep. And they get paid by the word.
Yep. Yep.
So pay now and avoid paying more later. Pay in the beginning. Get it right.
Get it right. Exactly. Exactly.
No better way than doing it right the first time. So,
The way
Becca,
to
thanks for holding this. Thanks for holding this meeting and doing it pandemic style.
Well, driving around town today, the streets are not that clear. They're safe if you're careful, but they're not clear by any stretch.
Yeah, the problem is really the ice you can't see, and it melts for a little bit and then it freezes back. And
Well,
that,
it's gonna start freezing in a couple hours. It'll freeze back
yeah,
in a couple hours, and then it's gonna be dangerous again tomorrow morning
yep.
and night.
Yeah, this lasted far longer than we all thought.
This lasted longer than any snow we've ever had. I don't recall any snow lasting this long.
No, and not melting away.
Usually it comes right back into 65-degree days, and
Exactly.
not this time. I think today was 41.
Yeah, that was downright
Um,
balmy. You know, if we were in Minnesota, they'd be wearing golf shirts. But but here everyone's got bubble jacket and down vest under the bubble
That's
jacket.
right.
I'm not used to this.
Lordy.
So, and Florida got more snow than we did. We're just getting ice, just not going
Well, they
away.
really did. Well, we got snow here in Somerville where we live. It was snow.
I
And
look at, we got it probably
was,
about 3 inches in the backyard.
we had about 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
It, it was collected on rooftops and in the yard.
Yep.
But it was, I don't, I didn't get out in it. I haven't done anything with it. So
There's really nothing to do. Waiting
I
for
didn't need to.
waiting for the big melt.
The big melt needs to come quickly. I see
Indeed.
Mhm.
Candace has joined the meeting, I think.
There she
She's
is.
getting there. Yep.
Connecting to audio.
And Beth, how are you doing holding down the
I'm
fort?
I'm good. How are you doing? I'm happy to see your name on here. I bet you're wondering why my name's on here.
Well, you're the clerk of council, so you're the straw that stirs the drink of everything.
No, I'm actually gonna administer the oath of office to the DRB members when we get started.
Okay.
So
Or we have to do that, really?
we really do. I'll go really slow because I can't. I have a tough time repeating back what somebody repeat or says to me whenever I have to do the oath.
Ah,
So it'll be easy. I promise.
I hope so.
You keeping an eye on GW?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
He's been texting me all day.
Yeah, he's probably bored. He's probably bored. He's not. He didn't try to venture into the office, right?
No, no, sir. He figured out very quickly that the only shoes that he wears are Crocs, and you cannot go in the snow in Crocs.
Nope. No, no, he can unless he has a foot
Nope.
heater
He
that
turned
is
right
readily
back around and went
available.
back inside.
Yep.
I saw tire tracks that led in and out of his driveway, so he's been out and about doing something.
He did say that he managed to get his car up the driveway, so he was happy that he bought the four-wheel drive vehicle.
I
Because he said that's probably the first
saw
time
the
he's ever
tracks.
used it.
I saw the tracks. But anyway, all good.
Yeah, I haven't even ventured in the out of the house yet, other than with the mini doodle. So
How many board members we got so far besides Candy and myself?
I think that's all I see right now.
That's all I've seen. Yeah, we got 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
Yeah, Bill, I think the only person who's told me that they couldn't come was Tammy. And then I think I've heard from everyone else.
You're
Actually,
good.
I didn't hear from you, but you were on the meeting before I even signed on. So
he's like the early bird catches the worm, the Eagle
Yeah, that's
Scout,
right.
the Eagle
yeah, we'll
Scout, DRB.
we'll wait until we have everyone except Tammy, and then we'll get started.
All right. I didn't bring my paperwork, the agenda and everything else. I didn't bring it with me. I forgot.
Well, glad you have a photographic memory, Bill.
That's one of the benefits of it.
That's it. You don't need paperwork. You remember it all.
That Prevagen works great.
Beth, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
I made you the host so you can share if you need to share any documents, or should Becca be the host?
Becca, I don't have anything to share. I'm just reading out loud.
Other than an oath.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, Becca instead.
An oath giver.
Okay.
Hey, this is Chris. Just making sure you can hear me.
Hang on
I
one
can,
second.
yes.
And we're doing a Zoom.
Good,
Give me
good.
1 second here. All
Can
right,
you hear me?
Loud and clear. Yeah.
I heard you.
Thank you.
Okay, Becca now is the host and she can share documents.
Lenny, does that mean I need to share the packet from my computer? I'm assuming it does.
Right.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
And that won't mess the live stream up.
No.
Okay, cool.
And we are recording now.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Yes.
Lenny, it
welcome.
is not giving me the option to share my screen. Hold on, let me try again. Okay, now it is. Can everyone see my screen? You should see me trying to work
I
on this.
see,
Yes.
Okay,
I see documents.
that sounds right. And y'all will have to forgive me. I have a sinus infection, so I'm gonna try and talk as little as possible. But I am working off of a laptop, so I'll be toggling in and out. So we'll just have to be patient with each other this afternoon.
Is that Drove Road or Droz Road?
Droz.
It's Stroh's. That was my typo.
Rose Road.
Okay, it's got the Z in it. I thought so.
You would think I would have remembered a Z. Well, we have a quorum, so we could get started, but let's see. We have Jared, Peter, Chris. Let's see. Is Justin on here?
Justin's
Yes, ma'am.
on.
Okay.
This is Justin.
Candy. Okay, yeah, everyone except Tammy, it looks like. So we can go ahead and get started. As you can see on the agenda sheet here, we have the election of officers and oath of office first. So Chris, if you want to go ahead and go forward with the election of officers discussion.
All right. And just to double check, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Alrighty. I have a little bit of sinus infection myself, so if I sound funny or I'm not making sense, let me know. And I do hear an echo somewhere. Could be me, but if not, if everyone would just check your audio, make sure if you need to be muted or not. So first order of business would be election of officers and oath of office. I think, Becca, what we have to have a nomination for chair and vice chair. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
This is Peter. I make a motion for Chris to retain his chairman position.
Second, Justin.
And
Alrighty.
Bill, I'll make a motion that Peter retain his chair position, sub-chair, vice chair,
Vice Chair.
vice chair.
I'll second that. All right, so just go through the motions one at a time. We had a first and a second on chairman. I'm happy to serve again. Could we call for the vote? Becca, do you need a roll call vote on this?
Yes, please.
Okay, Becca, can you? Well, I'll call on the folks. All right, Bill, how do you vote for chairman? Yes. All right. Candace,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
missing. Who am I missing? I can't see everyone on the screen.
Tammy is not present. Everyone else should be here. There's Jared.
Jared.
Yes.
Alrighty. So that's all in favor. Okay. So the next would be the vote for the vice chair. I'm a yes. Jared,
Yes.
Candy,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Justin.
Yes.
Alrighty. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for continued service or new service in Jared's case. So we're glad to have you. I think this is your second meeting. Then the approval of minutes from December 18th. Could someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll
Second,
second.
Justin.
Just a second.
Chris.
On the
Chris.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
I will not vote on this. I was not present for that meeting.
And I will not vote either. I was not
Yeah,
present.
I guess same question for me. If I'm not present, if I was not present, then I don't vote.
Nope.
Okay.
Correct. So already, just to go through the roll call again, Bill,
Yes.
Candy's out, Justin,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Becca, that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. All right, so the first order of under old business is 155 Droz Road, right?
Oh,
Oh,
we gotta do.
don't forget
oath of
about me.
office.
Who let them in?
Beth's gonna
Oh,
take
I'm
over
sorry.
and
I
instruct
forgot.
y'all in the oath of.
Yep, sorry about that.
That's all right. All right, if everyone, all members of the DRB, even if I can't see you on the screen, raise your right hand and repeat after me, and I will go slow. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
Sure.
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly
I am duly
Duly
qualified
qualified.
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the
According to the
According to the
Constitution of this
Constitution of
state
this state.
State.
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the
exercise
duties of
Duties
office
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have
which
been
have been
been
appointed,
appointed.
and that I will,
and that I
And
will,
I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my
my
ability,
ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the
Discharge the
duties
duties
thereof,
thereof,
and preserve, protect, and defend
and preserve,
preserve,
protect, and
protect,
defend
and
and
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of
Constitution
this
of
state
this state
and of the United States.
and of the United
of the
States.
And
of
of
the
the United
United States.
So help me God.
So help me
So help
God.
me
God,
All right. That's it for me, Becca. We'll just give everybody's signature at the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Adios.
Thank you.
Bye, Beth. Thank you.
Alrighty, Becca, if you could take it from here as far as the introduction of 155 Droz Road.
All right. So for Droz Road, this property already received final DRB approval from y'all. So this is just a revised architecture package for the clubhouse. So I'll let Patrick, I believe, is going to take over. I can jump through. I'll be controlling the slides, so just let me know as I need to jump through. But as far as my staff report, I did not have any comments. The revised architecture seems to be an upgrade. So with that, I'll let Patrick take over.
Before Patrick starts, this is Jeff Roberts, principal of JJR Patrick's, our director of development. We really appreciate the board's time and effort. The reason, just to lay some context prior to Patrick's presentation, is we sent the clubhouse element to our focus group. They determined that based on the previous design of it being all enclosed and the purpose of this UDO and the way this property is designed with alleys and lanes and big front porches has to do with certainly pedestrian and owner occupant circulation here. And we felt, as did our focus group after a significant study, that it wasn't going to be a boon to circulation. As a matter of fact, people would likely not use it. And when they seldom did, would be cloistered inside of the four walls. So we understood that this was we clearly understand that this is a major focal point as you're coming in here. So we did not really impact the architectural massing. The same architectural techniques were used, and Patrick will go over some additional elements which add to the focal point of it. But functioning now as a pavilion, we feel that we'll get a great many of the owners in here circulating together instead of the few that want to cloister inside. And it really propagates the motivation of the UDO on a gathering spot that people will actually use, but provides a very, very attractive architectural element that has an almost identical massing and architectural motif to our prior project, to our prior clubhouse arrangement. So Patrick, why don't you take it from here?
Thanks, Jeff. Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to meet you all on the snow day. Yep, as Jeff said, the design plan for this was really to keep the focal point and keep the architecture, similar to what we had, but we wanted to make it more of an outdoor gathering area. So Becca, go ahead and let's walk through the slides a little bit. So you can see it there. The main change is that front porch that we had before now becomes a bigger front room and has what I feel is a really nice fireplace and hearth with a chimney that comes up above the roof. And so you have that, fireplace as that central focal point of the building. Next slide. This just gives you a little bit closer view of it. You can see it's still in the same spot, still located next to the pool, but that big front outdoor space that is a gathering area. And then as we go through the other slides, you'll see on the back there is still some secondary use space that has countertop and seating and that kind of thing. Next slide. I think we have some comparison images. So in this view, the top images are the new, and the images on the bottom are what was previously approved. So you can see the architecture stayed very similar, but just becoming more of an outdoor space instead of interior space, and then the addition of the chimney. Next slide. So same thing, the top is the new, the bottom is the old. We also changed the color. This had to do with the introduction of the brick, and we just felt that the color scheme really fit well with the rest of the project, making it more of a white building with a bronze metal roof and this really nice tannish, tumbled brick chimney. Next slide. This is just a zoom in of the civil to show the change in the massing. So the footprint modified slightly. It may have gotten slightly smaller at the front, maybe slightly wider at the back, but it's generally the same area. And then the other change is the little chemical storage building at the pool. It previously had restrooms in it, so it was a little bit larger. It's now just a smaller, just chemical storage, and the restrooms are enclosed in the pavilion itself since it's all outside. So we just sort of combine that use. You can see it doesn't really affect, or it does not affect any of the existing trees. In fact, the shrinking of that pool building actually impacts the existing trees less. Next slide. And this is just the full civil drawing if you want to see it. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. I think we have a landscape comparison as well. Oh, keep going. There you go. So again, we're not changing the landscape design. The bottom is the previous with the old design, and the top, same thing, just sort of, readjusting the plant locations, but the same amount of plants, the same amount of trees. Next slide. Just go ahead and skip that. That's just the full landscape drawings. We'll skip to the elevations. There you go. So this is the palette for the building. So we've got the bronze metal roof. We've got this Magnolia brick, which is a local brick company, US Brick. The building is white, and then that Sherwin-Williams iron ore color for the shutters, and the dark tan is just the concrete base with a parge coat on it. Next slide. Okay, so that's the comparison of what the clubhouse was before, and then the proposed, which just to echo Becca, I agree. I think it is an upgrade in the design. I'm actually really excited about the direction of this building. I think it's really nice. So next slide. This is the side view. You can see that big covered area at the front, and then we've got our mail kiosk enclosed on the side of the clubhouse, just as we did before. Next slide. And that's the other side facing the pool. Next slide. And then the rear, which is also on the other side of the fireplace. You see there's a little bit of another enclosed area that can have tables, chairs, could have games or whatever for the community. And last slide. And this is just the change to the building at the pool deck, which is before had 2 bathrooms in it, so now it's just the pool storage. And since we also upgraded the roof there to a metal roof, just to match the pavilion. That's it. Any questions anyone has, please let me know.
Alrighty, thank you for that. I think it looks great. I mean, it looks like it really belongs in Somerville. It's very reflective of Low Country architecture. So I think you did a commendable job. Bill, do you have any comments?
I agree with you, what you just said, Chris.
Alrighty. Justin?
No, sir. I think it looks good.
All right. Peter?
I think it looks good. Have you considered some ambient lights? What's this going to look at night?
At night, I think the lighting will be, from the ceiling down, and then we can look at landscape lighting, around the perimeter of it. But I don't think it'll be a very bright, to your point, like having a really bright building in the middle of the neighborhood at night would be a little much. So yes, we will definitely look at the lighting.
And what's happening at the top of the chimney? Is that?
It's a metal like chimney cap. It's just a pre-made, like cover over the chimney to keep things out of it. You can see it better in the rendering. Go to the rendered view.
Alrighty, Candy?
I think the design is a nice improvement, and if they would just address the lighting, I think they're in target for that, and I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Alrighty. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Further discussion. Jared, did you have any comments?
No, I mean, I wasn't there when the original comments were issued, but I think it looks like a great redesign to me, and you're capturing, I think, all of the things that were, I guess, that you had as bullet points. So, yeah, I think this is an easy approval for me.
Good deal. All right. Is there any further discussion?
Did you want that motion with conditions about the lighting or just straight up approval?
I think I commented on the lighting that they do need to address the lighting the way what was mentioned to make sure it's not too bright or intrusive.
Okay, so that would be then. Peter, you made the motion, didn't you? Or was
No.
it Candy did? I'm sorry. So Candy, it'd be an final approval with conditions.
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty, sounds good. I'll call for the vote then. Bill,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Candy,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. All right, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Good
it.
job. Thank
I
you.
Have a good
appreciate it.
evening.
Thank you. Stay warm.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so moving on here to agenda item number 2, we have installation of shade structures for final review from our Parks and Recreation Department of the town. This project, along with all other projects that are zoned public land, receive site plan approval from council. The only reason that y'all are reviewing this minor structure is that currently the ordinance doesn't allow us to approve that at a staff level, which we're looking at hopefully changing that for small things like this. I think Amy Evans of our Parks and Rec department is on. If y'all have any questions, y'all are all familiar with the splash pad at Doty Park, I'm assuming. And that is where the shade structure is going to be located, and I'll let Amy add in any other information she feels is pertinent. Amy, are you on?
Yes, I am back. Yes, the town last year opened a splash pad. It's on the corner of North Hickory and West 4th Street. And on half of that splash pad, there's a concrete seating wall. And so these 2 umbrellas are going to be installed right behind those just to provide shade.
Amy, this is Chris. The only question I would have for you is for the shade structure, is it visible from this? I guess 2 questions. One, is it visible from that picture we were just looking at? And second is, are you going with the colors shown on that example, the red, or is it a different color?
Those colors are going to match. They'll have posts and then blue canopies. They will be visible.
Molly.
Concrete seating wall right there. They'll be installed directly behind, like the post will be behind there with the canopy half going front and some whatever but yes, there.
All right, you broke up for me, but would you mind just repeating the colors of the posts on the shade structure?
Yeah. Post will be white and then the canopy itself will be blue.
Ready. Thank you. Anything else you need to tell us or want to tell us?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Bill, do you have any comments?
I really like what you've done with the corner there. The kids have a blast. It's really well used. I go by there a couple times a day. And your canopies will be a nice addition.
Thank you, sir.
Justin?
No comments. I think it looks good.
Peter?
I would just add, just make sure that the structure is wind resistant to the winds that we're used to in Somerville, and that the fabric is also, I don't know if you intend to bring down the fabric when it gets windy or just, go ahead.
We had it engineered, it was meant for it to be 40 miles per hour. The fabric, of course, can't sustain that kind of wind. It would have to be taken down if we that type of, but proposed or engineered for 100.
Okay, so it sounds like you have accommodated and you have a action plan for high winds, which is good. I have no other comments.
Great. Candy?
I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Alrighty. Jared?
No comments.
Alrighty. Sounds like I would like to make a motion for approval as presented. Is there a
Second,
second? Second with Candy.
yes.
We're gonna roll call the vote again. Bill? Bill, are you in favor of the motion for approval?
Yes, yes.
All right. Justin?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Candy?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
And I'm approved. So the motion is approved. Thank you, Amy.
All right. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is conceptual review for MUSC Somerville FSED, which is a medical facility proposed at 1310 North Main Street. There is currently a building there that they are proposing to demolish and replace with their new building. There is already existing parking. I included the initial TRC meeting comments just for your reference, but so I won't go through those line by line. As far as my staff report, there is some parking that is somewhat in front of the building, and technically the UDO allows front yard parking can be approved by DRB in this zoning. Staff would normally recommend the removal of those parking spaces, but due to the nature and limited amount of parking that's actually in front of the building, it could remain without much issue. They'll need to include some bicycle parking. A landscape plan will need to be provided. I included a few of the items I noted as far as existing mitigation trees and landscaped areas that the applicant will need to note with their next submittal. But with that, I'll show you guys an overhead view of the site, and then I'll let the applicant get started with their presentation.
Hmm.
Jeff, would you like to kind of do a quick introduction of the site and kind of how you approach it?
Yeah, I will, Mike. I was just going to let Becca flip through these.
Okay.
So as we go through the existing photos, are you proposing any exterior modifications to what is there today?
Yes, sir. It's going to be demolished and replaced.
Oh,
New build.
okay.
And yeah, Becca, is it okay if I kind of talk through this slide a little bit?
Yes, please. Again, I apologize. I'm using a very small laptop to do this, so it takes a second to zoom in. But yes, please go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm Jeff Webb. I'm with ADC Engineering, just doing on the civil side of things. And I made this middle so I can talk a little bit to definitely about the site plan, but also with this is no, I don't have a clone army. I think we just got a bunch of people who use the same app, the same invite. Michael Ludden is with E4H. They're the architect on the project. This is a it's for a joint venture between MUSC and Intuitive Health. They're opening up several freestanding EDs throughout the state. This happens to be one of them. There's another one planned for West Ashley, Columbia, and various places, but it's a 12,500 square foot building. And it has just a unique thing about a freestanding ED. It's got a patient drop off that we want to be very visible and at the front. And then you have an ambulance area that's at the rear, as you see on the plan now. It's really my understanding is it's more for transporting patients from the ED to the hospital that may need to do that. That it's not like people are typically being brought to this facility by ambulance. And so if you kind of look at the existing site plan that was formerly the Applebee's, this footprint is a little bit larger, but we're almost holding that eastern edge of the building and kind of growing towards the left. So you can see we kind of lose parking and kind of trim things up on the left-hand side. But we're really hoping to, we are holding the curb line on the right-hand and eastern edge. We'll be doing some pavement, probably milling and overlay and patching and replacing curbs as we need to, but we're trying not to really extend the footprint of the development. I believe we're inside of all the existing footprint of curb lines and whatnot. And right now, we're a slight decrease in impervious area, larger building, but less parking. But as Becca mentioned earlier, we do want to maximize parking as much as we can. It's somewhere in the 55 to 60 spaces is what we think the need is for the facility, and we're right about 57 right now. Other unique thing about the site is there's a shared dry detention basin between this parcel and the parcel to the west, which is currently under redevelopment now. So both sites stormwater discharges to that dry detention area. And then there's a lot of really nice trees that were planted with the original development that have turned into grand trees, 20 to 22 inch live oaks and magnolias and some really nice trees around the site that we're trying to save. We are removing a couple of smaller trees that are, I would call them interior island trees that are adjacent to the existing building. But none of those are grand. I think those are like 8 to 10 inch, canopy type trees. We're trying to maintain the existing curb cuts, which they have a right in, right out on North Main Street that we want to maintain, and then an access to that backage road, which is part of the Azalea Square development. I think that covers it from site. I'll happy to answer any questions anybody might have, but if we want to skip ahead to the elevations and kind of architecture, that's good with me.
Just to be clear, there weren't any elevations submitted.
Oh, okay. I thought
yeah.
that I had gotten those in there, but
we do have a I do have a PowerPoint presentation if you'd like to see those. We had included them in with the narrative, but they may not have made it into the package that you received.
Yeah, Becca, you don't have the 8.5 by 11 narrative, do you?
Yeah, because we use a Dropbox link.
Yes, and that might have been on our end. Would it be possible for Michael to share screen?
Page 38 on the narrative. There's one more page. It has. I think in our package we have. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah, the narrative. There's actually a couple of additional pages that we included. Must have been a little bit past this, but if I can, I could turn the presentation on, or a PowerPoint presentation I have up and ready to go.
Becca, you can make him the host and he can share a screen, or we can allow him to share a screen. Who's going to be doing the presentation again?
I'm gonna.
Chris Akers?
No, it's one of the multiple Jeff Webb's.
Multiple Jeff Webbs.
Okay.
I guess if all of the Jeff Webbs who aren't the Jeff Webb we want could mute themselves, and the one who we do want, don't mute yourself so I know which one you are.
Well, I'm going to present, if you give me access, I will present the imagery, but our lead designer, Scott Hadgen, would like to actually kind of talk with you about how he's approached the exterior design and kind of give you an update on that.
Lenny, I would just make him the host.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the graphics.
Oh,
okay.
So we don't have a presentation?
I have it on my computer that I can share if I can have access.
Yes, that's what I'm.
That's what I'm talking about. Hang on a second.
Lenny, are you doing it, or do you want me?
Yeah, I can do it. Hang on a second.
Okay.
All right, see if that'll work. You should have the sharing option here in a second if you don't have it already.
It says I'm the host. I'm not sure which screen of my computer it's showing. Do you?
We don't see anything right now, Michael.
Yeah, even if you're the host, you still have to go to that green button at the bottom of your Zoom.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
And
all right, you're driving.
I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna let Scott start to talk. If you're available, Scott.
If I could, this is Chris Campo again, just to be for the benefit of the board, I want to remind people that they are asking for conceptual review.
Good.
So even though obviously we haven't seen this yet. So, and for the applicants, once you are done presenting, this will be kind of conversational, and we'll kind of tell you our initial feedback and comments and stuff like that, but we will not make a vote. So just keep in mind this is conceptual. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if Scott's able to talk right now, so I will kind of try to walk it through this and talk with you. So this is the front elevation that faces Main Street, and basically the southeast. The intent of the building, or intent of one of the main intents that we were asked to do was to reflect back to the other facilities that the MUSC has around the state, and they're currently also constructing. So with that, one of the big elements or visual things that they've asked us to do is to create this this icon called, that they refer to as a sail, which is you're all from South Carolina. I think you understand what a sail is. But it's kind of a swooping element that grows up and really creates kind of a signature to the front of the building. In addition to that, they've kind of bookended the sides of the building with this rib metal panel, and with the graphics on top of that. It has a canopy across the front, so that families can come up and park underneath cover and bring their loved one into the building. So that's the front one perspective. And oops, there's looking at it from the other side, as you see the sail kind of fall down. The building kind of steps back in the corner, and the rib material follows that. We've introduced an additional window in this portion to kind of add a little relief to the front elevation of the building. And here's a flat view of that front elevation. Just kind of give you the general feel of the overall building. The overall, it's about 18 feet, I believe, to the top of the parapet. I'm trying to remember that off the top of my head, but I believe that's what it is. So this kind of grows up to that elevation. This is a little bit shorter. We have a number of it being a healthcare facility. There are a number of mechanical units up on the roof and that we're trying to screen so to keep the visual disinterest away from your city. This side elevation, we've tried to dress it up. It is not the front elevation, but it is an elevation that is kind of the side that the majority of the people will park on. So it wants to be a little more refined. It doesn't want to have too much emphasis so that people think that that's where they need to go. What we've done is we've added the rib panel, kind of bookending the sides of the building and a series of ribbon windows across the elevation. Those windows go to the 8 exam rooms across that side of the building. The rear of the building is really primarily dedicated to the canopy for the ambulance, just like Jeff said a second ago. This facility, while it will be licensed as a full emergency department for the MUSC. It is intended to be more of a neighborhood facility. It has a dual functionality. It is a full emergency department with all the capabilities of any emergency department, but it's also an urgent care clinic, and it's a unique model that they have so that the people in your community can come into the facility not knowing exactly, okay, am I sick enough to really need to go to the trauma room, or do I need to go just really kind of more of an urgent care clinic kind of thing? They don't have to worry about that. They come in and they will be triaged here, and that will determine where they go, whether it's for the full-blown emergency department or for an urgent care clinic. But on this image again, it is an ambulance. The ambulance is for patients who are a little more advanced than what this facility is and need to potentially stay 24 hours. They will pick patients up from here and bring them to the main acute care hospitals, but there will not be patients being taken from ambulance from their home to this facility. They will be directed to the hospital instead. With the materials, we're looking at a gold, light gray for the corners, darker gray for the fields, and as we go around the building. So once again, the darker gray for the field across there with horizontal ribbing or rib joints, a metal panel screen across the ambulance or across the top to screen the mechanical units in. The canopy, the sail at the front, we're looking at a composite middle panel material for that. And I think that's what this gray material is an EFS metal panel, and like I say, composite metal panel here. And I think that walks you around the building. If there's any questions on it, we can talk. And I'm not sure if Scott's left a thing or if I can answer questions.
I'm here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was waiting for you to answer, and I didn't hear you earlier. So,
yeah, I hit the wrong mute button. No worries. You did a great job, Michael. So Jeff, sorry.
Does anyone have any questions or thoughts about the character of the building, and how it might fit in that location?
Peter, since this is so architecturally heavy or
Yes.
leading, would you mind getting us started?
Sure. One word you mentioned in your narrative was neighborhood, and I'm not quite clear on the use of that term with the aesthetics of this design. This box, especially on the other 3 elevations, are very fortress-like, very opaque. very hard, and I don't see any softness or neighborhood context to it.
Okay.
And we're just giving out opinions. This is our first blush. So
Sure.
I don't think there needs to be any comments unless you don't understand.
Well, one of the things that
Yeah.
we'd like to I'd like to throw out there with respect to that. I understand what you're saying. It is definitely a much more institutional looking building than definitely the first project that you saw earlier. It does have a different purpose, a different functionality. A lot of what the design, there's really two main driving forces that to kind of push us to where we're at on a design for a building like this. One is the intent of what is the purpose, big picture purpose, and understandability of what that purpose is. This is a healthcare facility. This is not a residential thing. It is not a retail thing where it's a software or whatever. It wants to look like a healthcare facility, and these are this does in large part speak to what healthcare facilities in South Carolina and around the country are looking like. The other thing I wanted to point out is that when we look at the side elevations, there really aren't a lot of windows, and the windows that you see are tend to be higher up. That is intentional. It's not that we're trying to turn our back on the neighborhood or turn our back on people outside. We are trying to, this is it being a healthcare facility, those are exam rooms on what you're seeing on the other side of this wall. So we're trying to walk that fine line of providing visual daylight and understanding of what's going on outside to the patients who are inside, but the windows are high so that a person walking down outside cannot see inside to respect the patient's privacy. Those are really the things that are driving kind of the horizontality of the window band on the exterior and the amount of solid exterior walls. We do understand what you're saying that about the fact that it is a lot of solid wall, a lot of very high-tech material, but we're trying to impress upon people that this is a healthcare facility that does give modern state-of-the-art healthcare delivery to them, so that they understand and they feel comfortable that if they go there, they will be treated in the way that's the best and the best around.
Thank you for that explanation. One comment or a couple comments I have just initially is just so you know, kind of the background of Somerville is and the board is one of our roles is to ensure that we push for low country architecture specific to Somerville, even if it's through materials or only through the materials. I'm not opposed to a kind of a modern building like you've shown. I think the downtown location in Charleston is stunning. But one of the couple things that were successful about the existing building that is being torn down is a predominant use of brick. And Somerville is a brick town, so to speak. There was a brick plant not probably less than a mile from this location. So, and if you come downtown, you see a lot of older brick buildings that are kind of in that red brown. Um, I'm I'm not opposed to the massing of this building. In fact, I think the sale could be even larger, maybe. Just something to consider. But what I do think is if there was an emphasis on using locally found materials in a modern way, meaning use brick columns or maybe some of these expanses of walls are brick. So, or on this picture, the MUSC Health so that right-hand side, maybe that's a brick wall potentially. But a lot more brick. Use Charleston colors or low country colors. Like if this were metal and brick and Charleston green, I think it would look great and it would look like it belongs in this area. I do agree with Peter on the I don't know if these are his words, but it kind of looks a little cold, particularly on the right-hand side. And I've got the site plan up on my screen as well. But I think if you would consider what that patient experience is like when they're coming from their car to the building, and I think you can help that a little bit by having more room along the foundation for landscaping, particularly maybe some narrow trees such as crepe myrtle or some narrow varieties. Right now, just by my quick measurement, it looks like it's maybe 3 to 5 feet of landscaped area. I don't think you can kind of accomplish that kind of human scale as you're walking down the sidewalk. Right now, you're effectively walking next to just a very stark wall. So if you could think about what that experience is like as you're coming from the side, walking down, say, the handicap spots, it's fairly long sidewalk, and then turning to get into the building, and really think about what that experience is like with the materials you can see and touch. It's only going to be a few feet away from you. And then my last comment initially is we also have to think about your sidewalks and how they join the adjacent site. They need to tie into Highway 17A, and if there's a sidewalk on that back road in the back, but just how it interconnects with anything else. But those are my initial thoughts. Bill, what are your thoughts?
I think the building is not tall enough in the front elevation. And I like the sail, but I think and I like the metal on the screen for the equipment on the roof, but I think parapet walls on the front need to be higher either side of the sail. The sail may need to be taller. The light cream color material, I think, should be brick. The sidewall elevations need changes in parapet heights rather than one uniform parapet height front to back. We ought to have break it up a little bit and then do something to break the wall up with either pilasters or I don't know what, but some way. The back rear elevation, I think, will take care of itself. But I agree with you with the brick and blah, blah, blah. Or at least get those darker brick tone and colors involved somehow. End of my comment.
All right. Justin, did you have any initial thoughts?
Not that's not already been. I agree. I mean, it needs to. My concern, contrasting what y'all said, is there's not a consistent type of architecture out there, at least my opinion. I mean, it's kind of all a hodgepodge, and that's probably because it predates us or this creation of this board. So, I'm fearful to say it needs to be low country completely, like this would be in downtown or another area like Berlin G. Myers or something where it's new, or Maple where it's new and it's a blank canvas. But at the same time, the brick, that's important. I like y'all's idea of the brick on the white parts. I like the sail, right? It should be that's their kind of thing they do, right? MUSC just has that sail, from their logo and their downtown building. So I like that, and I agree with Bill. I don't think it's it could probably be a little bit bigger to be a little bit more substantial. Site wise, and looking at it, I agree with Chris. There needs to be, and I think this is probably building code. There needs to be a sidewalk to the public way. I can't imagine just stepping outside of a building like this is enough for refuge. Obviously, it can't be in the travel lane. So maybe having that crosswalk right there on the right-hand side of the building near the entrance, or maybe further down. I don't know, but there is a sidewalk along 17A, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe there is one on the back side, but again, if there is one, it should be tied in. Basically, just rehashing everybody's comments.
Yeah. I think
Well,
Scott wanted to provide some additional comments if he can.
Sure.
I think these are all really great comments, and we certainly appreciate them. Just to sort of go back to a couple of things, recognizing that our context is really the Azalea Square retail and restaurant area. We didn't see it as being sort of this contextual idea as being as relevant as if it was in some other parts of the city. And I'll just make a couple of mentions about the materials. The brick comment is a great comment. I will say that with respect to these sort of bookend elements on either side of the front facade, although they're metal panel, the scale gives the look of clapboard. So that was the idea there, to tie it into a more of a residential material. And on the canopy in front of the building, the columns rest upon a stone type material. So those were a couple of our moves there in terms of connecting the building, even though it's an institutional building, to some more residential and sort of warmer materials, acknowledging that it wouldn't be practical for us to be putting a wood facade on the building, but the look, the scale, the texture of those sort of bookending elements were intended to give that feeling. But all of your comments are great. We certainly appreciate the thoughtfulness of them.
Thank you. Just because you mentioned it, and just to be clear, historically, the DRB has not accepted stone because it's not a local material. So I just wanted to throw that out there so you wouldn't. Stone is something we would absolutely push back on. So
okay, so that could clearly be done to the same effect in a brick. Thank you for the comment.
correct. Sure. Candy. Candy,
Chris,
if
if I
you're
may, I'm sorry to interrupt. In
Sure.
looking at all of the elevations out there, particularly behind this building, outside of the Texas Roadhouse, everything looks to have a very similar color brick. I think, in my opinion, if we're going to do brick, it needs to kind of tie into what's already out there, so it looks like it's part of the neighborhood, as I think Peter said.
Yeah, I think if they used the brick that I think that was an Applebee's, if they used a very similar to brick to the Applebee's in that color range, that's probably what I would be looking for, and that would kind of match the other things that are going on out there.
Yeah, and I think we will certainly look at that. And I think that one of the challenges here, and I think Michael touched upon this at the beginning, is trying to balance that sense of responding to context and reinforcing the client's identity and brand. And certainly the sale does that. As you mentioned, it's reflects back on the two buildings on the Charleston campus, and I think that. We just look to try to balance that, responding to context, reinforcing brand, and try to find that happy medium.
Sure.
I think if I would have saw this elevation with the submittal of the package, I would have been able to do more research. But this sale, and I understand it may be an MUSC brand, it seems typical to me. And I wanted to go back and look at the Roper Hospital that's in Somerville. And, maybe it's not the same shape, but it could be a screen wall in front of a building. Even the new structure that is being built next to you, I somehow recall, again, another screen wall entry like that. So I just want you to be aware that it may not be unique. And you may want to do some research on your own as to whether or not you do feel this screen wall sale gives you the branding and the bang that you're hoping to get.
And it may actually,
not this location.
And Peter, you bring a good point. It is worth looking at the Roper project that was approved about a year ago at Sawmill. I think staff can help you find that. Just not that you want to look like Roper, I get that, but they were very successful in kind of blending some modern architecture elements along with kind of a thought or repurpose of some traditional materials. That was very successful. And then there was a bank approved plan left to you and across the street. So that context is going to change a little bit, but I think it would be worth you looking at your neighbors that are under construction that you probably have not had access to kind of see how they face the street, what landscape palette they used, and the building materials they used as well. And one of the things Justin kind of alluded to it is in this core we have it's a little bit of a hodgepodge, and we have one of these and one of those and one of these, and it's a little chaotic. So we're trying to, particularly this corridor, look at it a little more holistically with context, so everything looks not the same, but it respects each other and it kind of blends a little bit better than it has historically. So I think if you were to lead just say with the elevation or the materials that I see on the screen right now, I would not support that because it looks too unique, right? It doesn't really blend in. So yeah, I don't. Well, again, the massing is tracking well on massing. I think it looks so different from everything else. I probably would not support this from a material standpoint. And Jared, we didn't call on Jared. I think Candy actually had to leave. But Jared, did you have any feedback?
I don't know if I would bring up anything that hasn't already been said. I think you guys provided a lot of good historical context, and it's a weird, I guess, situation here with trying to have some cohesion, but also acknowledging that this development in this area occurred piecemeal. I mean, it does look a little sterile, but it's a medical building. It's a medical building that looks like a medical building. I guess, and I don't know if this question is under our purview, Chris, so feel free to rein me in if so. But the aesthetics of the dry pond in the back of the site, can we just ask about that? Can I ask about that real quick? Like, what are the plans for
Yeah,
that?
for sure. Yep. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm just trying to understand because I'm looking at I was looking at the Alta, I think, and part of the parcel, this parcel as well as the neighboring parcel. So if you had like a dialogue with them about how that might be kind of revamped or revitalized, because it looks like it's in pretty sorry condition currently.
Yeah, and that's probably a question for Jeff, the real Jeff Webb, is you just at least consider what that existing pond or revamped pond is going to look like as you move forward.
Is this a 24/7 operation?
It is.
Okay. So obviously site lighting is important. Is this land owned by the Azalea Square or is this a separate parcel? Is this your parcel?
I believe it's a separate parcel. Brian, if
It's separate.
Okay. So you do
One,
not necessarily have to match their light poles and so you get to do your own thing. Good.
I guess probably a last comment for me is I think one hallmark of MUSC buildings downtown is they design really great outdoor spaces. And I know this is an out parcel and you're probably gonna do 10 of these this year or whatever. But I'm not saying go crazy, but if there's, again, think about those outdoor spaces, whether it's, in front of the building or if there's a gathering space somewhere, just give some thought to a higher level of material. Not saying it's got to be bluestone, but just thought on how it's actually designed rather than, no offense to engineers in the room. I work with engineers every day, but no, let's think about those outdoor spaces, not just the building. So whether it's scoring the concrete differently or adding brick or some kind of paving or selecting a great bench, just some thought to the entire project, not just, certain things. But well, like I said, this was kind of meant to be just give you initial feedback and comments. We don't take a vote. Do you have anything else you would like to add? I'm asking the applicants, or if there's any questions you have for us.
Scott, do you want to ask anything?
Well, I guess I would say, we've heard a lot of different comments, and one of them, which, it certainly resonates with us, is the incorporating brick into the building, making that perhaps the primary building material. Is that something that's going to get us, 75% of the way there already in terms of contextual? I think our client feels strongly about the idea of the sale element as this really sort of identity piece at the front of the building. Is there, if we brought brick into the design, we're a little bit more let's say thoughtful about the way we did our fenestration on this side of the buildings, although I think Michael made a very strong point that this is a ground floor building with all the windows into patient rooms, right there. So the idea of, having, 3x6 windows is just not practical for this. But we could certainly look at a way to modulate the side of the building more. But if we looked at our fenestration, we made this a brick building and held on to the sail element and the canopy, do you feel that we would be in a good place, or do you think it's more than that?
I think that's a pretty fair summary. I think I heard a couple of people, including myself, that said maybe the sail needs to be bigger, taller, maybe. I think Peter might have pushed back a little bit on that, perhaps. But I think brick goes a long way. If there's a way to break up the lengths of buildings, that pedestrian experience, I don't think anyone is saying you need to add storefronts or bigger windows or anything like that. We're very much a form follows function board within reason. So I think, and welcome any of the board members to chime in, but I think going down the path that you just described, that summary, you're tracking correctly. Would Peter or anyone else have anything else to say?
I think, I'm sorry, go ahead, Peter.
I was just going to say, this elevation that we're seeing, this is the main parking aisle. And again, I think it's sterile, and i.e. it's very flat. And I'm not saying, I understand the fenestrations, I understand what you're trying to do on the inside, but a simple eyebrow canopy over these windows would be a practical solution for rain shelter for people who have to park here and then walk to the entrances. And that would break up the flatness and sterility of this elevation.
A good point. Thank you.
I think, well, can I look at what the west elevation looks like, to Peter's point about something else? Okay, I'm going to echo what Peter said about this one, mainly because if I'm not mistaken, this is a corner lot, so this is going to be seen as you head into the Azalea Square. So I think this needs a more substantial treatment.
It's not a corner lot.
It's
Yeah,
there's a bank between this and the corner, but it'll be very visible.
I thought it was, according to the site plan, it's both lots, was it not? The vacant lot as well?
No, there'll be a building adjacent to this.
We have a new project being built on the corner. This is next door to the new project. They're sharing that driveway extension.
Okay.
It's like that 5/3 bank or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it just on the GIS it looks like a really narrow lot on Azalea Square Boulevard. Okay, my mistake. But yeah, I think to echo what Chris said, 75%. I think that's fair. Replacing it with brick that matches the commercial area in the back and perhaps a larger sale. I want to shield any sterile things. I mean, just because it's the use doesn't matter to me in terms of what it needs to look like, right? I mean, it's a major corridor, 17A. The fact that it's sterile because it's a medical building, I just don't buy. That's why you have form-based code to begin with. I think we need to jazz it up from all aspects off-site that we can see it. I'd say 75, but that's a soft 75% to me.
Well,
thank you for your comment.
I just want to clarify one of my comments is, again, I keep saying the pedestrian experience, but the other way to say it is it's too big of a building on too small of a site, on the sides. And I'm looking specifically between, say, the back of curb and building. There's just not enough space. And I know we're looking at this elevation, and I agree with everything that Peter and Justin and everyone has said, but if all of a sudden there's crepe myrtles or some other trees that are breaking that up, I mean, I hate to just rely on landscaping, but that would go a long way. And currently you don't have the opportunity for that. So the building needs to narrow, or the site needs to push out a little bit, that maybe the sidewalk isn't needed all the way around something. But there's a way to get more space in there for landscaping to break up those elevations. That's part of the solution. All right.
We will study that.
Thank you so much. Is there any of the other board members that would like to say anything? All right, that is it for us, unless the applicant has anything else they need to say, but I think we're good.
Thank you very much for all your comments.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Becca, do you need to resume the hosting duties?
Yeah, sorry, I sent you that message a little too early,
Okay.
but yes.
Okay. All right, give it 1 second. You should be able to share your screen.
Right. All right, can everyone see the staff report?
Yep.
All right. So this is our last project for this evening. Excuse me. This is also a conceptual review. The property is located off of Midland Parkway. Its existing use is a medical center. I did include our TRC comments just for your reference. But the important part of my staff review was just to let the board know that staff has interpreted the building at meeting the 55-foot height requirement, as the extended vestibule on the top of the garage is not enclosed. So as long as that portion of the garage that extends above the 55-foot only consists of the stairs and elevator lobby, staff can consider it a building element not intended for human occupancy. I didn't have any further comments as far as the architecture or site as it relates to zoning. So I'll hand it over to the applicant if they're still on.
I am still here. Thank you.
Great. Well, you'll just let me know where I need to jump around.
This is a perfect place to start, right on the narrative. Thank you. So As the narrative says, we're proposing to build a new parking garage for Somerville Medical Center. I'm sure you guys have tried to park out there many times in the past, and it's always an adventure. So the goal here is to provide 822 spaces, plus or minus a couple, in a 5-level parking structure, in close relationship to the front door, which, as you know, is the side. And I'll touch on that a little bit more here, but. So it's around 275,000 square feet. It will be considered an open parking garage with well more than 50% of the exterior open. So no ventilation required. The stairs will be open, and as mentioned, the elevator lobby is actually just open air on every floor. So the only really closed spaces here would be electrical rooms, comm rooms, fire pump room, things like that. So knowing the site and the campus, if you would go to one of the site plans, let's see, how about page 59 of your, yep, perfect. So you can see where it says main entrance there. That's the loop drive up under the patient tower. And the plan was to put this directly in front of that to give a little bit better relationship for where the majority of visitors and patients might park straight into that front door. And you'll see it in some of the other diagrams here too, but we've realigned some drives so it's very easy to drop somebody off at that front entrance and drive directly into the parking garage straight across. Not a lot of weird maneuvering, and also done some work to create a strong pedestrian link between those two. As I mentioned, the front entrance is really kind of hidden on this campus, always has been. And one of the things we want to do is create a little bit of a garden link between the front of the garage and the front entrance of the door, strengthen that access there, showing where the entrance is, showing what's important there, and make it a little bit better experience going back and forth between the garage. And you can see that if you'll go down like 3 more slides to 62, I believe. Yeah, so you can start to see a little hint there of how the pedestrian traffic, that's where the elevators and stairs would be in the garage, with a direct link across to the main hospital entrance there. And as you can see from this, we're set well back from the road. That's an existing piece of property next to us that's owned by another property owner. And there's very dense vegetation on that back piece. So we're going to be back behind some a pretty good thick area of trees back there. But the goal is to also give some connection to the new piece of property that we're added here. To the left there, see, you will go down to page 64, slide 64. Becca. You can see this is the existing site. And that property to the left, that L-shaped property to the left, is now owned by Somerville Medical Center and is currently being rezoned, and will ultimately do a plat combination there to combine this in. But with long-term goal, that will be parking in the short term, long-term goal of being able to develop over there as well. And this garage will provide not only a little bit of additional parking for what could be on that site, but also a little pedestrian link along the edge of it from the far site to the left to that hospital's front entrance. Questions so far? I'm talking fast.
This is conceptual again, right, Chris?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. We are still waiting on our site survey to get done, so we didn't have the inventory of 8-inch trees or any of those things. But wanted to get in front of you just so you guys had a chance to see kind of the siding, the overall concept. We can talk a little bit about the exterior. If you will go to slide 58. Yeah, that's just the cover where our rendering is. So this is the proposed rendering that you would see from some of that main parking. This would be standing in front of that MOB that's attached to the hospital now, with the hospital entrance off to the right. You can see a covered connection there from the garage entrance over to the hospital entrance. And what we're trying to do here is stick with the same general color family that's on the rest of the campus. That's really our context. As you can see in some of the other photo slides here, there's not a lot of significant context around other than all the additions that have been happening to the hospital. So we're trying to stick with the same color family, the same feeling as the hospital itself. And being a garage, the exterior material for the most part will be precast concrete. We're going to do a precast structure, which lends itself obviously to precast exterior. The vertical elevator core, that would be clad in brick with a brick panel to the right, just to kind of show that linkage between the garage and the building, maybe some signage on that. We haven't gotten quite that far along yet. And then that eyebrow canopy piece at the very top, just to signify from wherever you are, to make it clear where the stairs and the elevators are. You can see down that drive to the left, where we're up against that existing trees, the thick trees there. And the plan is we have opened up that bottom level and don't have anything real heavy or no precast concrete there, to make it a little bit more inviting to walk past. You're not walking past a big dark wall or an enclosed space. The goal is to give those people on that first floor a little bit more connection to the landscape around it. And that will be a path from the other part of the property at some point in time.
Do you think you'll be able to see the garage from Midland?
That is an excellent question. I don't think so, but we could certainly put together like a little rendering to show that.
If you could, that would be helpful.
Okay.
It's going to be very difficult to see it.
Yeah. I mean, those are probably 40 or 50 foot tall trees, if I remember correctly. They're substantial. And as far back as we are, if you see anything, you might see that very top.
I'm also big on night lighting. So
Sure.
any kind of sconces or some kind of decorative lighting on the exterior of this garage?
Definitely in the area of that vertical circulation. We haven't looked at anything on the exterior of the garage yet, but I think there is definitely potential in that pedestrian pathway from the garage to the front entrance to do some nice decorative lighting along there. And something so that vertical circulation really kind of glows and is inviting at night, and people are comfortable going there.
And did you say the inset panel and the two horizontal panels at the floors, those are brick or those are precast also? Just a different color?
Just a different color of precast on the exterior there. The brick pieces would be that vertical where the elevators are, and that one panel kind of to the right of the rendering.
Okay. Is that going to be a sign panel? Freestanding wall?
Yes, with a canopy tied onto that. Yes.
I'm going to throw this out there. We're just talking. This conceptual space, conceptual. So Somerville is, believe it or not, known for having murals. There's one on the downtown parking garage that's pretty striking. Just throwing that out there, that this could be a potential where you have mural opportunities. May not be interested at all. Okay. But that is just something to think about if that you see in more urban environments. But you see them in Somerville. We have them all over town, and there's this kind of a civic group that is behind that historically. But even on some of the improvements that are going on around town, murals are a consideration. So by no means am I saying, well, you got to do a mural or have a material that it has to be mural ready or whatever. It's just something to think about. And I know that's something in this situation we normally don't think about, but just wanted to give you a little history on that.
No, I love the comment. Are those treated like public art projects, Chris? Generally, you said it's a civic group that does that, or?
Well, some of them are hired.
Okay.
And it's usually it's done by professional artists and not a say it's not a scout troop or something like that.
Sure.
Although that can be appropriate in areas too. But no, it's usually well thought out and nice murals. So yeah, if you are you in town?
I'm
Are
not.
you?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's if you we could probably get some pictures, or you might be able to find it on Street View. But if you look up the Somerville parking garage right next to Town Hall,
I
there's a
have
pretty
I have parked in that parking garage several
okay.
times coming to meet with you
Yeah.
guys. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's one right there. Now on another note, I was looking at the Somerville Medical Center building, maybe the ambulatory entrance that came through here 3 or 4 years ago, and you could pull
Yeah.
it up online too. But they used brick. Um, I'm looking at a particular. I just Googled Somerville Medical Center.
Yeah, if you actually
Um,
go to slide, what was that? I've got a photo of that, 53. We might have to zoom in on that bottom image, but I included one of our shots of that. And I was going to wait until you said whether you liked it or not before I told you that I did that as well.
gotcha. Well, to the right of that, um, and I'm looking at a picture that says Somerville Medical Center and registration. So I think it's on that right hand side that you can't see from this picture, I think.
You can, that's right. It doesn't face the street. Faces the parking lot to the right of all this.
Yeah, it's not on Midland Parkway, the view.
Oh.
It's to the right.
Okay.
But it's good use of brick. I think it looks like it's two different colors. And it looks like it had some horizontal banding.
It does. Yep.
Yeah. So I think maybe you're tracking. I'm telling you something you already know, but that turned out pretty well. So I know on this it looks that looks like I'm going to use the wrong term, but a monoculture on that brick wall.
Yeah, not a lot of
Am I right?
texture on it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think the medical center was successful. So just kind of pick up some of that stuff. And you were speaking my language earlier on some of your comments about the outdoor spaces and stuff. And I would encourage you to do really great outdoor spaces so that you connect from the parking garage to the building. I'm not saying spend $1 million on it, but you can do things that make it look really nice and calms the patient, or invigorates the staff as they walk up, and just have those outdoor spaces as part of the design and not just an afterthought, or well, we never got to it or whatever. But that connection, it's important. And I know you've got this awning that looks like it's connecting, but whatever you can do to enhance that patient experience or the workers experience as you go from garage to building, I would encourage.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we don't have a rendering of that space yet, but if you go to slide 55, and I'm sorry, Becca, I keep making you bounce around here. The top image there is what it looks like today. So it would, it's got a lot of improvements to make. It's a narrow, little, not very inviting side.
Yeah.
Some of that's, overgrown, but that's our starting point.
Yeah. Whatever you can do to get shade, and like I've said earlier, wherever the person is stepping and they can touch and they can feel, it's within arm's reach. Just give some thought to that. Now I've got some comments on slide 59, the site plan.
Okay.
The proposed surface parking lot.
Yes.
A couple things. Looks like the ponds are undersized. Maybe they're not, or maybe it's underground or whatever, but just looks like it's undersized ponds. Think about that. Think about it's however many bays of parking that is. Say it's 600 feet of parking or whatever, but that is a whole lot of asphalt just to see cars. What I would encourage you to do is break those parking lots into smaller rooms. So maybe every other bay have a 5 to 10 foot wide strip that divides the parking it separates the parking from each other. And then you could put street trees or canopy trees through the parking lot to shade the parking lot a little bit better. I think there may be a buffer missing along, if that's Midland Parkway right there,
It is.
because it looks really tight. But and then think about, okay, if you're parking in that parking lot where the arrowhead is, and I know this is conceptual, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. So how do you get from that car to the campus? So think about what that sidewalk experience is, and anything you could do just to make this parking lot not seem so stark, and you get lost because it's like, did I park on this drive aisle or am I 3 aisles down? It's super easy to get kind of even disoriented. But that's part of it too. So anyway, that's I think most of my soapbox. But
Okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bill, did you have any comments?
No, I think you've covered it.
All righty. Justin? We still have Justin.
No comments.
All righty.
Just real quick, for the size of the existing facility, does all this additional parking exceed what is required? Did you do a count?
We have done parking calculations, and I don't have those in this presentation. I can get those for you. But also my civil engineer, I think, is still listening here, and I'm hoping I'm going to talk until he jumps in and can help me answer that. Chris Akers, you still on here? Maybe not.
His name is there, but he's muted.
He might be
There-
scrambling. He might be
there we
scrambling for the information too.
There we go. He's there now. Muted again. All right. Well, while he's getting connected in, Jared,
That's something
did you
can
have any?
just bring to the next submittal. I'm just curious. I see vast amounts of parking. You're doing a huge structure, and are you now creating a excess quantity of parking for the
Well,
facility?
So I can speak to some of that without Chris's input. Is the goal of this garage is to accommodate long term all the parking they would need to accommodate future growth. We don't want to have to build another garage later or anything like that. So that is, I believe, the size of this garage takes into account other future master plan thoughts on the site. So as sized right now, yes, it's a little oversized.
And keep in mind, if I recall, that's a wooded site. I think it was in the staff report too. Before you get too far down the road, the town arborist is going to, or your arborist is going to need to kind of evaluate the trees out there.
Yep.
And 9 times out of 10, we ask, and the town requires, you work around the existing trees. Right now, this is assuming all those trees can be removed, and that may not be the case.
Yeah, probably not the case. I've
yeah.
walked part of that site, and there are a handful of really nice large trees. So
Yep.
That's supposed to be coming along with our site survey that we're going to get here in a week or two, I believe, the final report. So
Already.
Knowing that we're waiting on that.
All right. One other component on site is there's a pond between the parking garage and the parking field. And I don't know if that's existing or proposed, but what that causes is it pushes the pedestrians or the people that park even further away. And it is also funneling them, or they have to take this one sidewalk. If that could be located elsewhere, or the parking moved closer to the garage or something, but I'd really like for that pond not to be in its location. And it may have an engineering reason why it needs to be there, but I think it really is acting as a barrier for circulation. But Jared, did you have any comments?
Not really. I don't think. I think the siting of the building is spot on. I think it'd be nice to just kind of drop someone off at the main entrance and drive right in there. I've been to this facility a handful of times. I didn't even know that was the main entrance along the side there. So I think that's cool. I agree with what Chris said about when you're getting into those parking fields that are further away, I guess Plan West, north or sorry, southwest and those parking fields along Midland. It looks like you have some type of pedestrian collection component that just kind of terminates halfway through the parking field with that yellow sidewalk. So I don't know if I completely agree with what Chris was saying about kind of breaking up the parking areas because I think that hinders circulation, but maybe something if you have some type of unique element like that, you could say, oh, well, I parked on this side of the sidewalk or, whatever the case may be.
Okay. We'll definitely, once we get that site survey and we get a little further into the design of that lot, you're correct. Right now, it's just been kind of we're going to park here, and we'll develop it a little more as we get the survey. So
Yeah, it almost looks like that parking lot was designed as a math exercise. I'm not trying to be overly critical. It's just
boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom, offset them every 60 feet, and that's how much parking we have. And you can design parking lots too that are actually enjoyable to walk through. But right now, it's not doing that. So,
and do you happen to know if the hospital is looking to execute everything on this plan day one, or are they going to phase it with some kind of master plan?
No, they're looking to execute all of this, everything you see there, day one.
Okay.
Do you need this stormwater management component in this local area? I'm assuming the outfalls to the north.
It does outfall to the north. The existing property that was just procured does have stormwater management on site. So not having gone through the grading yet, we have assumed that we will need to provide some in the area of that site. But we may not.
Okay.
Is there anything else you need us to provide you some feedback on? Any building component we haven't talked about, or I know there's this kind of there's a flying wing at the top. Do we have, as a board, Peter, do we have any comments just to kind of help them out and get them going?
I would say look at I think you did. You probably went 60% on the aesthetics of the garage, which looks good by breaking up the surface areas. I think if you can take that another level up, because it's such a massive structure, that if you can enhance it even more, and that could be lighting, that could be a different color, it could be an accent band, it could be something simple.
Yeah, it'll definitely have more texture in it. I think it's been said it's very flat right now, very smooth.
And I think the pedestrian experience, like Chris always talks about, from that surface parking lot to the hospital, needs to be studied.
Okay.
And I think this entry canopy could also be enhanced a little more than just these conceptual flat planes that they are. So I think conceptually it looks great. Now I think you need to add some more details to make it even greater.
And a project like this is, I'm thinking about what your next submittal would be. You can come conceptual again, you can go for preliminary, but there's a lot to unpack in this. I don't want you to necessarily go so far down the road with, say, 40% construction documents, and we've got, now 30 sheets of civil stuff and 30 sheets of architectural stuff. It may be worth showing enough to get your further developed and refined concepts across and then get feedback. What happens a lot is sometimes applicants get so invested in their construction document, 50% construction document set. It's hard to change from that. So just think, that's up to you, but just think about that as you're moving forward. And it sounds like you do. So I'm just throwing that out there.
No, I appreciate that comment. I do think we'll, just based on where we are today and the conversation, I do think we'll plan to do a preliminary between now and final. So we have another chance to look at it.
For sure. All right. Bill, did we miss anything?
I think you covered it.
All right. Justin was good. Peter, we're good. Candy's out.
Just one minor comment.
Yep.
When you submit the preliminary, please submit a sample board of your materials.
Yeah.
Jared, anything else?
One quick thing. When you're doing the rendering perspective view from Midland, can you just make sure you're grabbing it from quote unquote the worst case scenario? It kind of looks like if you're in between the MOB and the buffer of trees, you might be able to get a better view shed of it. I just want to make sure it's the worst case, not a section cut through the 200-foot, hundreds of feet of trees or anything like that.
Sure. Okay. Easy enough.
All right. Anything else? Well, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Great. Well, I appreciate all the feedback and
All
good conversation. Thank you, guys.
All righty. Thank you. Take care.
Everyone.
Becca, what we got?
Alright. That was our last agenda item. I don't have anything under miscellaneous. So unless y'all have any questions for me, we can adjourn. Tomorrow, town offices will be closed, but I will be checking my emails throughout the day as I can. So if y'all need anything, I'll still be available, but otherwise, we can get a motion in a second to adjourn.
All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Everybody sign off.
All right, stay safe, y'all.
Thanks.
Take care.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Yeah.